NBA You Totally Suck Moments. NBA revenue per year comes to outstanding gross profit of $8.5 billion. And when the COVID lockdowns and mandates are all squashed and gone, the NBA projects $10 billion in revenue. Clearly, people love the NBA. But the NBA's bottom line will surely fluctuate depending wholly on the NBA. Sometimes, the NBA just gets on your nerves. Here are the most talked about times that people literally screamed at the NBA and said, "NBA, you totally suck." Remember the time LeBron James and the NBA bowed down to China? Without a doubt, LeBron James is no stranger to controversy, especially since in the last few years, his true colors have been exposed. One of those colors is akin to China's flag, with the crimson red and yellow sickle and hammer, as LeBron showed full support of the oppressive regime of China. LeBron James rejected the idea of criticizing the oppressive nature of China while claiming to support human rights in his own native land, the USA. LeBron James and the NBA are often quick to get behind social justice movements, but they really screwed the pooch in 2019 when Daryl Morey came out in full support of the protest movement in Hong Kong against the Communist Party's better interest. The backlash from Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta, the Chinese government, and Chinese business interests rocked the franchise, the Houston Rockets, and the entire NBA, as China began boycotting the Houston Rockets and the NBA. Morey simply made a tweet, then he even deleted with the image that said, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong." But by the time of deletion, it was too late for the Communist China Party. They forced the Chinese Basketball Association and various Chinese businesses to swiftly denounce Morey by severing ties with the Rockets. As a consequence, the Rockets' ownership was debated along with Morey's employment status. NBA games were pulled off air in China, and the NBA heads as well as players had to run damage control and virtually apologize. And LeBron James was one of the biggest apologetics. So why did the NBA bend the knee to tyranny instead of following the American First Amendment creed of freedom? Well, keep in mind, the NBA's business operations in China is worth more than $5 billion. Leonard gets fired on his day off. Back in March of 2021, Leonard received a savage backlash for using anti-Semitic slur during a Twitch stream while playing Call of Duty Warzone. That's right, he pretty much got fired for talking trash while playing a superficial video game. Word got around very quickly, and that same day, the Miami Heat announced that they were reviewing the matter and already making arrangements for Leonard to be shunned away from the team indefinitely. Later that same day, the esports organization FaZe Clan cut ties with him publicly. Although Leonard apologized for using the slur and still remained an investor, at the time of using the cursed word, he actually had no idea of its true meaning. Many of his fans came out and said they didn't even know it was anti-Semitic slur either, until the woke crowd made a big fuss about it and educated the masses. NBA referee betting scam. It's recently came out that NFL teams sometimes intentionally lose games when they have no chance of being in the spotlight for championships because they want to earn the spot of being the first team to draft. And how does it feel knowing that several politicians make millions from making regulations that could actually benefit some companies while hindering others? It's frustrating, isn't it? Well, here's the curious case of NBA refs involved in inside betting. The 2007 NBA betting scandal involved an NBA referee that used his knowledge of relationship between referees, coaches and players, and owners to bet on professional basketball games. In July 2007, reports of an investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation were made public. According to the allegations, in the 2005-2006 and 2006-2000 NBA seasons, referee Tim Donaghy bet on games in which he officiated. On August 15, 2007, the whole truth was revealed. Donaghy pleaded guilty to 2 federal charges related to the investigation. And a year later, he was sentenced to 15 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release. Sometimes, crime doesn't pay. the tampering epidemic and salary cap circumvention concerns. According to Articles 35 and 35A of the League Constitution, tampering refers to an owner, general manager, coach, scout, referee, or player attempting to persuade, entice, or induce a person who's under contract with another team to join the tampering team. This is a big no-no. The NBA has long banned tampering on account of it undermining fair competition. Actually, a team can face harsh punishments for tampering. Loss of draft picks, massive fines, and long suspensions for offending employees are all possible. However, such punishments are rarely applied. The most significant punishment for tampering occurred in 1995 when the Miami Heat averted league discipline by agreeing to send a first-round pick and $1 million to the New York Knicks in exchange for the right to hire Pat Riley, whom the Heat had illicitly pursued while he still coached the Knicks. And who wouldn't want Pat Riley? He's regarded as one of the greatest NBA coaches of all time, with 5 NBA championships as a head coach, including 4 with the Los Angeles Lakers during their Showtime era in the 1980s, and 1 with the Heat in 2006. Sexual harassment allegations towards the Dallas Mavericks. Back in 2018, the Dallas Mavericks were infamous for widespread allegations of sexual harassment and discrimination being prevalent throughout the franchise. Sports Illustrated reported a thorough article after talking to around 215 Dallas Mavericks employees. According to the article, the team's ticket office and other internal wings had seen widespread incidents of harassment and discrimination against women. The report named the head of human resources, Buddy Pittman, vice president at Dallas Mavericks, was the main scapegoat and majorly accused of his neglect and inability to take action against the incessant complaints. And his feet were held to the fire. At the same time, owner Mark Cuban was also accused of not taking action, but he was found not guilty. Donald Sterling. Since 1981, Donald Sterling had been an owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. Although the majority of the NBA remained unaware, several reports surfaced stating that he was actually a racist. According to reports, he was openly racist to his friends and colleagues. Finally, in 2006, the U.S. Department of Justice sued Sterling to the tune of $2.75 million after he refused to rent out properties he owned to African Americans. Apparently, the NBA actually knew about Sterling's racist nature and refused to proceed with countermeasures. In 2014, when a secret phone call was leaked by TMZ, the league was forced to act. The phone call recording exposed Sterling telling his mistress to not bring black people to his games. In the same phone call recorded, he was complaining about an Instagram post of his mistress taking a photo with Magic Johnson. During this day and age, you can imagine the hellstorm of outrage from everyone associated with the NBA, including players, other owners, fans, and the media. Sterling was soon banned from the NBA for life and fined $2.5 million. Kevin Durant hounds actor-comedian Michael Rapaport. Kevin Durant is normally in the news for his outstanding performances. But in 2020, he made news for his heated spat with actor Michael Rapaport on Instagram DMs, which got him in big trouble because his language had a clear threatening tone. His messages were also labeled misogynistic and homophobic. It all started with Rapaport criticizing Kevin Durant for not being responsive in an interview with Charles Barkley in December 2020. KD didn't let this scrutiny settle without adding his 2 cents. Like an elementary child tattletale, Rapaport then took to Twitter to release screenshots of the conversation they had to gather the cult with their pitchforks to blame KD of being vulgar, threatening, and homophobic. Kyrie Irving vax scandal. In 2021 and currently, there was more than a modicum of resentment for those who refused to take Dr. Fauci's ouchie. The NBA was deep into mandates and issued a vaccine for the entire league. Some players refused, but Kyrie Irving's decision to remain a pure blood went viral. Even though he was blasted by so many, he stuck to his decision, didn't waver, and decided what he'd put in his body. His body, his choice was the motto despite other players, celebrities, and politicians driving his name through the mud. Irving missed much of the season, But when he did return to the Nets, he was obligated to submit a weekly negative COVID test, even though those who have had the jab can still carry and transmit the virus. Nonetheless, Irving made it back just in time for the Nets' playoff run.